It's amazing. I feel good when you feel good. I knew I would. It's amazing. I've wanted this for so long. Now the deed has been done. We shall rise with the sun. Spend our time as one. Now there is no sin in anything. It's amazing. I love life, I hope you do too. 'Cause I love everything, it's all amazing. I feel new, do you feel new? I understand when they say we're born again. 'Cause I've been born again, I'm born again. And it's amazing, it's the best thing. It's glorious, it's life-changing. This feeling is amazing. It's the best thing. It's glorious, it's life-changing. This feeling.
Hi everyone, we're live on the Lancashire User Forum live LUF Lounge. Say hi to Emma Daggers.
Hello Emma.
Welcome. I love that song. It's amazing. Every time I hear it, it just does something for me, for my soul. So welcome to the live LUF Lounge tonight. My name's Pete Yarwood. I work for Red Rose Recovery, but in this space I'm an advocate and a member of the Lancashire User Forum, and we stream this group, we stream in this space every week, and it's a variety of different people. Now we stream on a Saturday night at 5. We've got an awesome lineup tonight, and you know, our hosts tonight are the lovely Emily and Willie, and we're going to take you through the agenda, which is going to be quite authentic tonight. I'm a little bit nervous because they've asked me to tell me life story, and it's normally the other way around. I'm normally asking people, will you tell yours? So I think you're going to get a bit of that off me tonight, but not unless we hit a certain number of watchers and viewers. So that's the deal. You've got to hit the like and share button, because unless that number starts going that way, how many people have we got watching, Emily?
Well, we've got 22 at the moment, it says, at the moment.
That's nowhere near enough.
No, we need more, definitely, especially if you're doing your life story. There needs to be a lot more people. So people need to like and share and spread hope, as I've just said.
Well, that's our value, isn't it? Hope. And I think, you know, just touching lightly on when you asked me to share my life story, you talked about a few years ago when there was a news article on the BBC, and it it was a story you were saying, Pete. I watched an article, and it was a story about you and a couple of the other guys on the LUF boat. And will you tell it?
Well, you didn't seem to think that you were very important and that your story didn't need to be heard. I don't know why you felt quite humbled that we suggested that. Well, it was Dan Littlechild suggested that you do your life story, and I said to you that if it hadn't have been for me seeing the newspaper and opening up and reading the article about yourself with the little canal boat and what you did, you know, how you'd gone out helping other people in addiction, you know, about the fact that you'd been in addiction yourself, I would never have found Red Rose Recovery. I'd have never gone and got in touch with Red Rose Recovery, and I wouldn't be here now. You know, so it's people like you who've inspired me, and you know, and it's opened so many doors for me. So I think it's extremely important that people like yourself share your story of where you have been, where you are now. And I think, and the fact it's going up, the views are going up. So definitely, you know, I think Willie will agree with me, you know, because you have been a massive inspiration to Willie. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Emily. You know, from Kemple View Hospital, when I first went to the LUF meetings, it was Pete that was there for me. He took me through everything, like the speaker boot camp. He got me to, you know, talk instead of being nervous at the time. He got me to talk, you know, and I enjoyed it. And he's some guy, you know, Red Rose Recovery, you know, they've always been there for me.
Exactly. And Shelley Nixon's put, we are all here because of you, Peter. Stop being humble. You're awesome.
So, okay, there's an element of me what has got a huge ego and a big driver, and it's like I'm always on the guard looking for it if it rears its ugly head, because part of what I've got to do in my role is play a part, you know, and I've got to generate income, because that income then gets invested into other people. So, you know, I know that when I deliver my story, I know that it's of value, and I normally attach a fee to it. Yeah. So, but when you asked me to tell my story, there was a couple of key words you said, and I cringed. You said, "Oh, the big man," and you were, you know,
the top man, the top man,
top man, and I just thought.
But did you or did you not discover Red Rose? Did you or did you not set up Red Rose? Was it not your initial?
I was the catalyst, but
right. So there you go.
Listen, none of us do anything on our own. The guys who are successful, they're successful because they've got people wrapped around them doing it with them. None of us do anything on our own because we're flawed, you know. So anytime, you know, I get given the glory for something that we all did, it just, my spirit starts, you know. Have you ever seen that guy who he climbs inside a balloon and he just does all things like that? That's what happens on the inside, because it was something me and other people, some of whom aren't alive, some of whom have gone on and they're working in different areas and, you know, flourishing, some of whom have gone back out there. Some are still around driving it forward, but it was definitely a we thing. What I thought, though, when you said that is, I better put a disclaimer in right at the beginning. You know, if any of you guys put me on a pedestal, by the time I've shared my life story, you're going to rapidly take me off it, and rightly so, because I'm flawed. You know, I am a flawed individual. I'm no different to any of yous, you know, and when I forget that, I'm on dangerous territory. So I think, you know, I'm willing to jump in this space and paint an honest, authentic picture of the adversity, poverty, criminal justice, mental health, addiction, a true picture of that adversity. And hey, I never got it first time round, man. I'm one of them what knows what it feels like to have entered into this space, this recovery space, been held up there as a, you know, as a role model, and then relapsed and been really scared, really alone, you know, vulnerable, and not being able to find a way out of it. Fortunately, you know, there was people there who, you know, they didn't mind, they understood, you know, what it is we're dealing with, and they were straight in to wrap compassion around me. And after I got through what I had to get through, I was able to get, you know, a bit of honesty around it, and a bit of with the people that matter, because I knew they didn't mind. But, you know, whether it was true or not, I just thought there was a lot of people who was glad, who wanted to celebrate it, or who wanted to lick a few stones at me. And, you know, in my head, I just thought there's a lot of gossiping and there's a lot of backbiting, you know, and that was hard. That was tough, man. And like, when you don't talk about these real issues, they're the things what can take us out and kill us, you know. So I'll gladly jump into that space, which is
we've got comments already. Before we go on to a bit of a stop, well, we need to introduce Peter. Just introduce who else is on here, and I'm going to do some comments in a second, and then we'll go on to a song.
So we've got Willie. Willie doesn't need any introduction. Willie is it belongs to us. Willie, you belong to us.
Yeah.
You're part of our family. And Willie does his wisdom. Say hi to everyone, Willie.
Hi, everyone. Like and share, please, tonight.
And have you got a quote for us, Willie?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. That's one quote.
Well, save that wisdom. We'll catch up a bit more of that.
Okay, then.
And then we've got the Dirty Gecko, man. Chris, people have heard of the Dirty Gecko, but tonight they're going to meet you live and direct.
Fantastic. Right, guys. Right, everyone. Friends, family, subs.
And we have got Neil. Again, Neil is another guy who I go way back with, and we was in the criminal justice system together, weren't we?
Yeah, you could put it that way. Yeah. I think our paths met as a consequence of our using when we was hopeless, you know.
Hey, that's a good point. We was, I wouldn't say we was hopeless. I would just say we never had any hope.
Yeah.
Because
we didn't know. We didn't know. Yeah. And, you know, when I met you on the other side of custody in the community, my heart just jumped for joy, because I remember sat in prison thinking, where are all these, you know, where are these mythical unicorns? Where are these people I keep hearing about who are getting well? I'm only seeing people coming back to prison. I'm only hearing about people dying. I want to see, because I don't believe. So yeah, I don't think we was hopeless, but I didn't have much hope for a better future. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we share our story. Neil, you've been on with some amazing stuff. You're going to tell us a bit about that, as well as play some music, right? Yeah. I want to just tell you quick, I'm representing Jobs, Friends and Houses in Blackpool. I'm in supported housing, you know, and to me, I know the themes about hope, that they've given me so much hope, and, you know, they've looked after me. We're more a family than just friends. We're like a family, you know. It's just about making use of the support, and you know, I'm 2.5 years later, and I'm still here, and I love it. My life's just changed for the better. But I'll explain that later on if you want.
Nice one, man. And we've got our own Elliot all the way over from Burnley. Elliot, welcome.
Hello, nice to meet everybody. It's my first time on here, so I hope you're all nice with me too.
Oh, we'll be lovely with you. Don't you worry about it. We'll look after you.
Hey, nice one, Elliot. And you're going to play us some music, that's right?
Yeah, I'll jump on.
I'm going to just do a few comments first. Get yourself ready, Elliot, because I'll whiz through these comments and then we're going to so we've got Dan Littlechild, who said it's only taken 1.5 years of asking Peter to do his story. So it's not been long, really. You know, we can't moan. Lindsay Jackson, 100% I would not be over 2 years sober without Red Rose recovery. Credit where credit's due. Stephen Brown, hi guys, beaming in live from Portugal. But it's sunny over there. Julie Cahill, I'm 17 months sober. Woo! Go on, Julie. Well done. Stephen Brown, yes, Neil, good stuff, mate. Leanne Moore, PTR would incredible man. Mehmet Holman, top guy, Chris, aka Dirty Gecko, helped me through a lot. Big up to Chris and thank you for all your help and support. Oh, you see. Simon Marsden, Red Rose saved me from being on the streets begging to now. I started this weekend my first step of the 12 steps and Red Rose recovery. Well done, Simon. Sophia Akram, hey Willie. Go on, Willie. Stephen Brown, go Chris Reynolds, Magsy O'Neill, yay, Dirty Gecko, absolute ledge. Gemma Payne's watching. Shelley Nixon, Emily, can we get Dirty Gecko to tell us the story behind the name? It sounds intriguing. So we'll get to that after. Oh, hey, always. Leanne Roberts, yes, everyone. Nice one, Pete, Emily and Willie. Nice to see you again on here. Amazing book, Willie, by the way. I am currently reading it. And of course, my mate Neil, big it up. Daniel Littlechild, you haven't heard Elliot yet. So I'm really excited now about this singing. Stuart Nevin, hi all, working frontline services. I regularly see fallen soldiers and once hopeful recovery warriors who are in peril and trapped after relapse. Oh, wow. That's quite deep, isn't it? Lisa Nicole, hello, Lisa Nicole from Unlock Your You, massive advocate for mental health. She's put massive love to you all. Brad Duke is watching, and Dee McChrystal, hello. So that's it. Woo, can breathe, and the views are going right up, Peter. So we need to keep getting those views up for Pete to do his life story. But Willie, do you want to introduce Elliot for me?
Elliot from Burnley. Elliot's from Burnley. It's his first time on here by Emily.
Is he going to give us a song, Willie?
Yeah, he's going to give us a song, love.
Nice one. Thank you, Willie. Right, take it away, Elliot.
Hello, this song is called Bullet of Truth, and it's like a little bit of spoken word rap type of stuff mixed with a bit of singing as well. And it's just at that point where I started realizing about some change and different conversation and different way of thinking and yeah, that type of stuff. Anyway, my gun's my metaphor, this bullet's my truth. And if you don't believe me, then I'll shoot you too. And my beliefs, my dreams, my aimless goals of a 6-year-old boy who's a changing home. I never had the tools to stand on my own feet. I was just told, try one day this might click. And finally, the penny dropped in 7 years of hell. Finally learned how to make a man of myself. I finally learned peace, what a happy day. Now tomorrow comes along, smash it straight from your way. But then I learned it again, this time something stuck that I can care and not care without giving a thought. Be happy, not happy, but it's healthy to look at your own emotions grow and be free from this hug oppressed dangerous dependency that we call love. Bottom line faith, maybe, yeah, kind of. I'm terribly opinionated, it's not okay, but now I say what I say and reflect to end of days. And if something doesn't sit right, when I think real hard, it doesn't sit with my true self, it belongs to be shared. An apology sincere, not one fake word play, like I'm sorry about your emotions, hiding the reality. No change, open mindless, same whole blindness, that same stupid cycle justify my own demise. I laugh at myself rather than looking at the bullet, then it all builds up, I break down, then I'm nothing. Then I'm like bound certain subjects being emotion, judgment, and a legal substance being acknowledged and cared for, because I know it's something. Live your life, true to yourself, nobody else. Always look forward, not over your shoulder. This day isn't over, you're only getting older. If I could show you my experience, then you might understand of what makes me delirious, makes me feel less than. But it's not an excuse when trying to be a true man. It's the real fool's juice that we feed to this brand. Men hide emotion, masculinity is the killer. Male suicide, 3 to 4 times bigger. And if you advocate aggro, please check yourself. Because to fix these issues, you can't buy it off a shelf. You beat up other people seeking a fetal position. Yeah, this point might be rude, but this point, don't miss it. It's hard to get help. Masculinity and our mission. Stop getting macho and just talk with your missus. To be open and honest is a really hard life. To have compassion and longing, you might just survive. Have you bottled it up and felt you might just pop? Well, I have too, and it sucks. Because you know what? Opening up is a newfound freedom, and I wished on all of you to restart and start breathing my reality change with a balance of yin yang. Femininity strange, because the future this time. Live your life to yourself, nobody else. Always look forward, not over your shoulder. This day isn't over, you're only getting older. Is this rap, poetry, or spoken word? Whatever it is, it helps me become verbally heard. Whatever it is, it helps me get this off my chest. I'm unsure it could be part of the dumping process, which I don't agree with. Unless it's a solution, because sitting in the moment is the worst resolution. It's okay not to be okay if you think why it's happening, but when we're not thinking, we're too busy battling. To everyone I know, if I'm the reason you're hurting, then I'm sorry, I really mean it. You deserve to be nurtured by yourself. You deserve to be free. I've been hating on myself for the person who I've been, but this is my new chapter. I hope it's yours as well. The whole world's waiting once we start to meld. Why don't we raise the glasses up and give a fuck and have some boundaries? Have some care, and definitely learn to love.
Whoa,
Hey, brilliant.
Pretty
that
cool.
was
That.
fun. I wasn't expecting that actually. You've got Jeanette Gerard, wow, truly amazing, what a talent. Leanne Roberts, nice mate, brilliant talent. Elliot, my hometown is Burnley, woohoo. Barbara English, fab, wasn't expecting that, love it. Joe Gallagher, your flow is amazing. Simon Marsden, go on, lad. Wow, honestly, there's just Joe Bryan, wow, true poetry, love it. I mean, that was really unique and pretty. What?
Cool.
I don't know what I was expecting, but that was just true talent. Sarah Elizabeth Davis, oh my God, Elliot's on fire. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for the comments. Oh, that's really nice. That's the first time I played that song in front of a lot of people, to be honest with you. I've only ever played it in front of a friend or something like that every now and again. So thank you very much, honestly.
Thank you, Elliot.
You, Elliot.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elliot.
Yeah, do you want to tell us a little about you know, like what so you're based in Burnley, and you know, do you want to just tell us a little quick?
Yeah, can do, yeah, of course. So before that song came around, and a little time before that, I was in a great position. I was in a position where I was helping people. I was in recovery for a little while, and I became a key worker, and I was supporting a lot of people. And then when 2020 came along, March, and all of the big C word popped into the world, it started getting to the point where I was working from home for a little while, and started getting very much isolated. Well, I started feeling very much isolated because I wasn't going out and seeing people, and my way of thinking started changing quite rapidly. Once that moment came around, and it took me back out. It took me onto a relapse, and I wouldn't say back out. It took me exactly where I was. I was right inside my flat doing absolutely nothing, slowly declining on what I'm doing for work and how I'm supporting people, until it got to the point where really I needed support rather than to support people. So I had to give up my position at a really lovely company. And then when I gave that position up, I still went on for a little while. So I was just in a terrible mind frame. I started going out to meet friends and everything, breaking restrictions, breaking everything possible, because all I wanted was what I wanted. And I just wanted to be out and doing whatever I wanted to do. And then basically I started meeting up with the wrong crowd, getting to a point where I started getting on it, and it started getting pretty bad. And it was like every weekend, whenever they were free, it was just going and doing that until I had one moment where I decided enough's enough and I really need to make a change, because I was speaking to the same people. It was the same conversation. Nothing was changing at all. And I had that little touch of recovery in me still. And I could just remember everything was about change and the next step and moving forward and the growing yourself and feeling good. So just one day, it was just completely random. It came to me that I'm going to call a rehab and ask for support. And I decided to go through and went into a rehab in Waterford, and basically started experiencing a bit of change again. The first day that I went in, and the word change to me, I keep saying it a lot because it's probably the biggest word in my life, really. In that sense, anytime anywhere I was before, there was none of it at all. As soon as I stepped into that environment, I started hearing words and different things spoken that not normal people, but where the vocabulary is in everyday life, really. And different things started coming to my mind. I wanted to move forward. I wanted to make a couple of plans. Like I love supporting people. I loved helping people. But I started thinking, you know what, I want to do something for me this time. So I decided to apply for college, to take a step back from going into work full time and going down that path of things and try and get my time a little bit more free. And I decided to apply to do an access course at Manchester College for sciences whilst I was in there. And it was just a little bit like I ended up moving out of Glen Valley and moved in with one of my close friends, and got a very nice cushy setup and getting everything. I'm getting well taken care of as well by my friend, so I'm a very lucky individual at the moment in time. I found out about a week and a half ago that I got accepted to the college course studying science, and so the next steps going forward now, where I can kind of get a little bit of my mind a bit more educated and move forward on that one. I've always wanted to, but I've always flunked whenever the moment come along. So I am feeling a lot of hope recently about what's to come and where to go, and in terms of music and stuff like that, for anyone that doesn't play guitar and isn't into music and doesn't actually do anything himself, I'd recommend you try it and you start doing it yourself. Because I only started playing guitar 3 years ago, and I only started singing and rapping 2 years ago. So it's just I put a bit of time in, I put a bit of creativity in, and I took myself away from people so I can try new stuff. And I was nervous at first. When I first tried playing something in front of people, it was almost impossible. It was a case, I'd come out, it was a cat screaming, and it just didn't sound right, and I'd be stuttering on every word, and I'd keep forgetting every single lyric. And over time, I just realized that this experience playing guitar and doing something in front of people, it's not going to kill me. And from that, I started building on it, started getting a little bit more confident. So I'd recommend to everyone, pick up a guitar, pick up a piano, pick up anything, not a piano because that's too heavy, but pick up something that's creative and try and put something creative in your life, because it does help. And it's another way of expressing yourself, for definite. You've all got lots of lovely things to think about the world and your life and all that type of stuff, then you've got a song already. It's just putting it on paper.
Oh, mate, you're amazing. We love you.
Oh,
Joe Bryan's just said, thank you for sharing that, Elliot, especially with it being your first time on the LUF. Isolation hit a lot of people in 2020, but you turned yourself around and you're here today singing and rapping poetry to us. Well done, much love. Wow. Do you know what? You are amazing. And like you say, you know, true inspiration of hope. I mean, that is hope, isn't it? You know, that there is hope there for everybody. Yeah. While we're still breathing, there is hope.
The more the agenda, the more the sector catches up with lived experience as a crucial part moving forward, the more we can design a culture, a framework that enables people with a lived experience to put their hand up and say, hold on a minute, I've gone too far in my role supporting people and I need a little bit, and how we can manage that is important. But can I just ask, are you aware of the Brick Fund?
I think I've been made aware by one of my friends who's I think he might have done one of these lounge sessions in the past, yeah. But it's potentially something I'd like to try and lean towards anyway. It might not be now, one day.
So the Brick Fund is some money what Lancashire County Council give Red Rose Recovery to act as custodians of that money, and it's for initiatives, you know, to pump prime recovery, to create social enterprise, to help people, help other people. There's a really simple process you can go through to apply for some of that funding. One of the recent applications that was successful was for a guy who we all know on here called Ben SOS Riley, who's part of Drywave, and Ben has applied for some money to help some, because we've got some.
Oh, we've got the promotion of Ben on the pillow over there. Dirty Gecko's just showing us the pillow of Ben SOS.
Yeah, go. So in a nutshell, you know, what we recognize is we've got lots of creative talent, and how can we get that talent ultimately to market for income, or, you know, to tackle stigma, for a whole host of reasons. But Ben has got a skill set, and we've said we value enough that skill set to attach a fee to it, to your time, and he'll help some of our gifted musicians create some tangible products what can get out there. So if you're interested in that, speak to some of the Red Rose Recovery locality workers and team leaders, and Emily's one of them. So because it'd be great to see you. Do you know, that's a real talent, that.
It is. That's it. Simon Marsden's just put, guys, I played a penny whistle when I street begged, and people reacted positively to it. Music breaks barriers.
Oh, shout out Simon, man. That guy.
Simon Marsden, do you know what I mean? And it's Lindsay Jackson, Brick Fund is such a fabulous idea. My business is launching soon with the help of Brick. Real easy to apply to. Just goes to show. Stick with us. Stick with us, with the Red Rose family, and we'll look after you. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Go for it.
Peter, are you ready for a life story?
Well, before I go to my life story, can I just have a little bit of Willie's wisdom?
Oh, we can, yes.
Ties me up nicely.
Get yourself ready. Yeah, definitely. Go on, Willie. Oh, Willie, you're on mute, lovey.
I have to turn my mute on. It does banging here and everything. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. Before you have accomplished today is waking up and making your bed, then you are on the right track. Keep pushing. And we have hope is seeing the light in spite of being surrounded by the dark.
Oh, yes. That fits in perfectly. Thank you, Willie.
You're all right.
Peter, are you ready? We're going to come to your life story now. It's time.
Okay. Thanks, Emily. So, what, 10, 15 minutes?
Whatever it takes, just give us your story. We want to listen to it. You've got plenty of time.
So for me, I suppose I haven't got a childhood what was packed with aces, or, you know, a great deal of trauma. I was brought up in a good working class family, and mum and dad had, you know, sound morals, and life was pretty good until I hit a really vulnerable time in my life, adolescence, you know, teenage years, and mum and dad split up. It don't matter how many times I tell this, emotionally there's a price to pay, because I revisit you know, tough times in my life as I was being shaped as a young man. And the first thing that started to happen, the first vital sign was that I went from being in all the top sets in school right down to the bottom, and I started messing around. And it was just really the beginnings of trying to find a way to cope with the emotional pain. And I didn't have vocabulary to like articulate. I couldn't talk, man. I couldn't talk about it with anyone. But the signs were there, you know, something's happening. He's, you know, his behaviour's changing. And that wasn't picked up. And I couldn't understand how, you know, mum and dad, who were married and a really secure like anchor point for me, were now separating. And, you know, I was right in the middle of that. So on the one hand, I was losing my main role model, my dad. And I felt rejected, I felt scared, lonely, isolated. And on the other side, you know, mum was doing her best to get through it. And, you know, I come from you know, an Irish immigrant background. So, you know, there's quite a large extended family. And all of a sudden, you know, they were, you know, some of my family members aren't that positive, you know, and they became role models for me. And these guys was, you know, actively participating in, you know, criminal activity, and I gravitated towards it very, very quickly. So it wasn't long before I entered the criminal justice system as a kid, really. I might have thought I was something else, but the truth of the matter is I was a kid. And by that time, I'd been heavily influenced as to what life looks like when you go down this pathway. And what I could see was flash cars, lots of respect, money. It was glamorous. You know, and as a 14-year-old kid, I was handed keys to BMWs. I was wrapped around guys who would just walk to the front of the nightclubs and, you know, not be searched, just be brought straight in. And I was watching, you know, some dark stuff, and it all became very normal to me. But it wasn't healthy in any sense of the word, and my spirit, my soul just rejected it. It just rejected it. But it's all I knew. It's all I had. And like I say, it became normal for me, to the point where going to prison was like in my future, you know, and I knew that, you know, I was preparing for what life will be like going to prison, because it's inevitable. And incredibly, I got to a place where I'd accepted that was all right. You know, life was that edgy. That was normal for me. And, you know, some of the stuff I was seeing, I won't go into on here, because you think I've been watching too many films, dodging bullets and stuff like that. But, you know, it was hairy. It was really hairy for me as a teenager growing up in the middle of Moss Side, Manchester, Moss Side, Longsight, Salford, Ardwick Green, all them areas, you know, all them council estates were raw. And I could walk to the shop and I'd have to like strategically plan my route, because it was hairy, you know. And there was multiple shootings. There was multiple like reefs that had been laid there where people had been murdered. And, you know, I remember, and not, you know, when have that film, The Matrix, and they shoot bullets and you can see it cut through the air, I felt one of them shoot past my cheekbone and I felt the wind of the bullet. That's how close I've come. And there was 5, 6, 7 times where for the life of me, I don't know how I come out of that situation unscathed. You know, and even not just, you know, I would put myself in them situations as well. And I would get in behind the wheel of a car and I would drive recklessly. I'd put the music on and all of a sudden I'd be convinced I was Sterling Moss, you know, and I remember I heard clear as day, slow down. I heard that as clear as day. And just as I come round the bend, there was roadworks and I had to go onto the other side of the road and there was a bus coming. But I listened to that voice, what said, slow the fuck down. And I did. And I remember I was shook up because I thought, what just happened there? I just avoided death. And there was, you know, I woke up in hospital and they were, my family are Irish Roman Catholics. So they'd brought the priest in to read me my last rites in the hope that, you know, it'd shock me into changing the way that I behaved. But what they didn't know was that death was like a result. You know, if I die, at least I won't have to live the way I'm living, because I couldn't change it. You know, for all the you know, desire to make them good choices, I couldn't. And all I kept doing was hurting people who I cared about, and continuing to do it. And it was really shit, you know, and like I've contracted hepatitis C, and Chris knows this guy. There was we used to go and smoke crack cocaine in his house. You know, he was a beggar, and we just used to go in and do whatever we want in there because we could. But really, he was just another vulnerable person, and I knew there was dirty injecting equipment in that flat, and I needed to inject. I needed drugs, man. And I remember thinking, there's a high possibility that that injecting equipment has got HIV or hepatitis C, and I didn't care, because I thought that is something that'll happen 10, 12 years down the line. I don't think I'll last a month, you know. So it was that kind of lifestyle. But there was a few significant things along the way. I mean, the first time I entered the criminal justice system as a 15-year-old child, I remember going to the prison officers and saying, I'm going to get poorly really quick. First time I've ever been in prison. And I went to the staff and asked for help. And as I was being inducted into HMP Armley, which was a Leeds prison, as a Manchester lad, you know, and it's like I stick out like a sore thumb. I don't sound like everyone else, so it was all eyes on me. And then all of a sudden I'm being segregated off from the rest of the guys because I'm going to the hospital. And I thought, you know, wow, hospital. I know what an hospital's like. It's got to be better than a prison. And they marched me to the basement of D Wing, which was the segregation unit, and put me in a strip cell as a 15-year-old kid because I told them I was an intravenous drug user. And the next day, I remember, you know, I didn't sleep a wink that night. I didn't have a blanket. All I had was a wooden plank on the floor. You know, the bed was 6 inches on the floor. It's just made of wood. The pillow was made of wood, a half circle, and it had a hole in the ceiling, not in the door. It had one in the ceiling where they could walk up the side of the cell and just look down to see who was in the cell. It was really like surreal experience as a 15-year-old kid, and I was just like at a loss as to what was happening to me. The next morning, I heard the landing being cleaned. There was someone mopping the floor, and as the bottom of the door, as the mop hit the bottom of the door, I could hear it, you know. So I went up to speak to somebody. It's another prisoner, and it was like, yo, what's happening? Where am I? What? Will my door get opened? And I remember this guy just tore into me with a volley of abuse, you know, and I was like, that ain't supposed to happen. You know, the lads never clued me up to that one. I thought other prisoners there'd be some camaraderie, but so I asked him, you know, what is it? Why are you so like bitter and nasty and angry? What's your problem, man? And this guy, I was a 15-year-old kid. This guy had a big beard. He was a man. He was in his 30s. He was a big guy. And what I found out was on the other side of my cell door, in like, you know, big A4 paper, they described the words in red felt tip pen in capital letters. They described the words virus and put it on my door. So from that point on, I was marked, you know, and I was stigmatized. And I remember as I seen the doctor later on that morning, I convinced him I was okay and I wasn't going to have any withdrawal signs. And they let me onto normal location. And as I was stood waiting for me cell to be assigned to me with my bed pack under my arm, I got sparked out, and I've still got the scar under my eye to this very day as like a constant reminder of the stigma that drug users face from society, but also, you know, from other like mine. You know, the stigma's real, man. And I just woke up and got up and thought, I'm gonna have to adapt. I'm gonna have to get through this. You know, and I did. I adapted. I got through it. And when I got visits, when I written letters, I would swear, I'm not coming back. Life's going to change for me. And I meant it. But, you know, when I got released, I still had all that anxiety, all that pain, all that emotional. By then I had a lot of trauma as well. And it wasn't long, you know, it was probably about an hour before I was drinking, and then a couple of hours before I was using. And, you know, that became perpetual for me for 20 years. So it was like, you know, from 15 to 35 when I finished my last custodial sentence, which is where I met Neil. And up until that point in time, I'd never been exposed to what we call in the recovery community is visible contagious recovery. What I had experienced in them 20 years was being boxed off as something that I wasn't, you know. So you're high risk, you will never amount to nothing, you will be managed. And it never worked for me. You know, I learned to become self-helplessness, you know. So it's like, okay, and I see a lot of this. So it's like, if I'm never going to be given an opportunity to integrate into society, mainstream society, and enjoy the fruits of that society, well, what is there for me? So if it's going to be benefits, how do I blag the benefits? You know, how do I convince the doctors that I'm a lunatic so I can get high rate benefits and not, you know, minimum rate benefits? So that was my mindset. I'd not ever once considered actually there's so much more you can do, because at every point in my experience, things that I could do for myself was done for me, you know. And people would speak limited language over me. In other words, you know, I want surrounded by people who believed in me and who could help me change that internal dialogue. So that internal dialogue was, you know, you are high risk, you are an addict, you do hurt people, you can't point to anything that's good and true and beautiful. So maybe they're right, you know, and I didn't have any hope. You know, I knew I was a good person, but I didn't have any evidence of that. So hope for a better future was zero. And in prison, I met a prison officer, and I remember he sat on my bed. How am I doing for time? It's like, I remember the day well. He sat on my bed and he opened a packet of cigarettes and he gave me one, and he called me by my first name and said, you know, let's have a brew. And I remember that night reflecting on that 5-minute intervention, thinking, why was I so like, what was it? Why did I feel so uncomfortable in that conversation? Was it because he come into my space? And then I realized when he came into my space, he didn't trip the lock. So for those of you who've never been in prison, anytime prison officers come into your cell to check the bars or you know, just do a quick recce, they will always bang the lock so it comes out, which means you can't lock them in your cell and barricade it. It's you know, a risk assessment and managing the risk. So if you did do anything, you wouldn't be able to like take a prison officer hostage. So that's like standard practice. But when this prison officer came in, I don't want to get him into any trouble, but when he came in, he didn't do that. So straight away, what he was saying without saying anything is, I'm going to get on your level. I'm going to treat you. And there's a quote that I use by Goethe. Goethe's 18th century philosopher. And he says, treat a man as you find him and you make him worse, but treat him as if he already were what he potentially could be, and he'll become what he should be. And that's what he was doing. You know, he was treating me like a decent human being. He wasn't treating me like scum of the earth as a prisoner. He was speaking to who I could be, not who society was saying I was. And that was the stuff I was like struggling to understand. And I realized, you know, up until that point in time, I didn't have many people in my life who treated me like that. You know, they always had an ulterior motive. They always had an agenda, you know. So it wasn't a surprise that that's what, you know, that's what I started to manifest in my world, because it's all I would see and all I would know. But this guy, he's a friend now called John. Shout out John Ashton, HMPY Mott. Yeah, he took it a step further. He used to open up a space where I could, you know, talk to him about life and struggles and how I could overcome them. And he never once gave me advice, or he never once told me what to do. He just created a space and helped me work it out for myself. And I used to think there's 64 beds on this wing, there's 64 beds, but only 30 of them are filled with people who want to partake in this program. So the prison authorities, they've just got to put heads on beds. So we had 35 lads on this wing who wasn't in the program, and that's where the rub would take place, because the best place to sell drugs is on a wing full of recovering addicts, right? You've got a captive audience, and we didn't stand a chance. So I wanted to know why you cannot find 65 men in a prison of 1,300 men who want to do this program, because I know they're out there. I've met them, I've spoke to them, I've served time with them. They're there, but there must be a reason why they're not getting from where they are to where they need to be. So I thought about it, and what I realized was the choices that was influencing the way these guys, you know, people would paint a really bad picture. They would say that wing's full of grasses, you know, don't go on there, it's fucking nasty, you know, they're all on protection or blah blah, you know, and people would listen to that, and it would influence the way they lived their life, the choices they make. So the voices that influenced their choices was negative, and it wasn't true, and it certainly wasn't healthy. So, you know, people who would come on that wing and then they'd get challenged, they'd go into the main population slagging everyone off, and people on there think, I'm not going on there. I don't want people saying that about me. I don't want them gossiping, and, you know, I've got to live, you know, these are tough environments, prisons. You can get hurt really bad. So I sat down with John and I said, what do you think would happen if, as soon as people come into the prison, he spoke to me just for an hour? He sat in a room as part of their induction package, and I told them what this wing was like from my experience, not from the authorities' experience, but from mine as someone using that service. And he said, what would you tell him, Pete? I said, well, I'll tell him what it's done for me future. You know, I've got a bit of hope. I'm learning skills. I'm interacting in a community, in a pro-social community. I'm realizing for the first time in my life how my behavior impacts on other people around me, because my peers are pointing it out to me. I never knew for years, and I'm learning to change my behavior. I'd just tell them that, John, using a vernacular that they understand and relate to. So he said, let's see if we can get the governor to authorise it. And I had to go through, you know, the rigmarole, the risk assessments and the interviews. And all of a sudden I was like authorised to sit in a room with new inductees, and I was shitting it. I was like, oh, fucking hell. What if they start on me? You'll have all them big, hard, tattooed prisoners like the dirty gecko coming in, sucking the lips at me and throwing pelters. I don't want to do it. It was like, oh, but I did. And I'm glad I did, because for the first time in my life, I had someone I could point to and say, I can do something good. Actually, I can be a part of the system and add value to it, because within 3 months, we'd filled that wing to capacity. In fact, there was a waiting list for people to come on and do the program. And that was the first critical point where I started to change my life. So what I'm going to do is tell you my life story in installments, and you will have to wait for the next installment in 4 weeks' time when we do our stream again, because there's other guys in this space and they've got some wicked, weighty wisdom to drop into your world. So thank you for like staying with me, you guys who've stayed this far, and you'll get what happened next in 4 weeks' time. How's that, Emily?
Oh, let's just give him some look. I'll tell you what, the hearts are like flying up, and wow, I'm like, I mean, you know, I know about Longsight and Mossight. My family were Salford and Stretford, but I was born over in Rosendale. But you know, and an Irish family, Spanish family, you know, traveller. I get it all. It's manic, isn't it? You've got lots of comments. We've got, oh wow, hold on a minute, Peter, and then we're gonna have some music by Neil, I think. Wow, go on, Pete lad. Leon Roberts, loads of hope. Felt already listening to you speak about your story. Amazing inspiration. We've got Leanne Moore, amazing how much you've changed your life around and how much you give back. Such an inspiration, showing hope to people still in there struggling, and showing everyone that a light can shine again. We've got Glenn Costello's watching. Hi, Glenn. I think they've all been to Blackpool today. We've got Simon Marsden, scary. Brad Duke, you're an inspiration. Pete, raw and honest. Julie Cahill, for me, never used drugs. It was always the drink. I found the drink not a problem to put down. The emotional side of life on life's terms was hard. Alcohol ism is a twofold illness of the mind and the body. Very true. Leanne Roberts, amazing to hear your share. Julie Cahill, well done, Pete. Fantastic, inspiring journey. William Byram, thank you, Pete. Chris Kendrick's watching. Simon John Marsden, Trip the Lock, kidnapping. Magsy O'Neill, inspirational, Pete. Dan Littlechild, Brad Duke, Michael Butler, it works in the farms, full clean wing. Is that Lancaster Farms?
Yeah.
I went and did a visit with some of the kids from high school there. Like, this is where you could go if you don't behave yourself. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Stuart Nevin came out of the same organ grinder council estates, and God only knows how I survived, as I was swimming with predators in those skanky bedsits. Jails was a reprieve, but equally dangerous. Got clean. Oh, hold on, it's not like, oh, wow. Got clean in 1999, went abroad and caused chaos in France and Germany. Full-blown addiction took over, and then diced with death till I found recovery in 2010. First real job was for Red Rose in North Lancashire, piloting the way in my own challenging way. Still going strong, and I'm now considered a unicorn and fly the flag for recovery. Well done! Yay! Stuart Watson, wow, inspiring as ever. Barbara English, absolutely awesome, stunned us all. Joe Bryan, much love and respect to you, Pete. First time hearing your story. You're an inspiration to all. You have helped a lot of people through recovery. Sarah Elizabeth Davis, what an inspirational man. You've done so much good, Pete. A true example of what people who believe in people can do. Laurie Sinfield, what an inspiration. Lena Lisa Larson, that's a cool name. Very inspirational. Lisa Nichols, so proud, Pete, and can't wait for 4 weeks' time.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. You've got everyone tuned in, so honestly, and the views were going up. So I just want to say thank you so much. I'm gripped now. I need to wait 4 weeks. Are we going to, Willie, do you want to say anything to Pete after that story? And then we're going to get a song from Neil.
Yeah, Pete, I was going through the same thing like as you was in prison, you know, everyone banging on my door and that lot, saying this and that lot, you know, which is a load of rubbish. You know, on a mental health wing, you know what I mean? They just classed us as being, you know, oh, look at them, look at these, look at that, you know, or he's a grass or he's an nonce, you know, stuff like that, mate, you know. And it wasn't right, do you know what I mean? Because there wasn't, you know, there were people that were ill on there. Do you know what I mean? There were unwell people.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they all thought that for, you know. It's just wrong, man, you know.
Tell you what though, Willie, you haven't half inspired me, because I think I should write a book.
You should.
You've written your book, mate, and you've got it on the website, and it's really, by all accounts, Willie, if you can do it, I think I can have a good go.
Oh, look, we've got Dirty Geckos promoting again. The book's there, as people can see. It's like the shopping channel with Dirty Gecko, isn't it? And here we have Traded Ben SOS.
Yeah.
Pillows here.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Willie. And thank you, Peter.
Yeah, cheers, Peter.
I think we need a song by Neil, and then we better get over to the Dirty Gecko, I think. Neil, are you ready to give us a song?
Yeah, of course I'm ready. I just want to say thanks, Peter. That was brilliant. That was inspirational. That you know, I've known you for some time now, and I didn't know most of your story. It was interesting to find out a bit more about you. But that's a message of hope. We've all got a message, haven't we? In recovery, we've all got a message, and it's about using your voice and giving hope to other people. You know, like I said before, Jobs, Friends and Houses, the supported housing, and all the supported housing what's available in your own towns. I just recommend like making use of your support workers, because that's what they're there for. But you know, us, we're lucky because they drop all the barriers, you know, all this safeguarding stuff. You know, we've become friends, we've become real friends, and it really works. It really does. And it's about building relationships. You know, I got clean me. I didn't have no friends, nothing. You know, come to Blackpool to make a new start after being in prison. Just started building relationships with people who I trust, and I'm now lucky enough to be in a position where I can give hope to other people, and it helps me as well, but it helps other people. It's just, you know, it's just about communicating, isn't it? It's about sticking together, isn't it? Sticking together and helping each other. And that's the song I want to do. That's the song I want to do. It's called "Let's Stick Together" by Brian Ferry.
Oh, I like this one. I like this one.
That's what we do.
I won't sing though. I'll mute myself.
You can all sing along if you want. You know your marriage vow is very secret. The man who put us together now, he ought to make us stick together. Come on, let's stick together. You know we made a vow to leave one another never. You know you never miss your order till you're well done dry. Come on with me and give our love a try. Let's stick together. Come on, let's stick together. You know we made a vow to leave one another never. So if you're stuck for a while, consider a child. How can it be happy without its smile and pile? Let's stick together. Come on, let's stick together. You know, united we will stand, every boy, girl, woman, and a man.
Hey, let's stick together. Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Neil?
Yeah, I love what Elliot had to say before as well about I could relate to it about getting something you're passionate about and being creative around it, because doing that, I only learned guitar 4 or 5 years ago, and I actually learned while I was in custody. You know, this is a little message of hope. I snapped my guitar in two a couple of weeks ago by accident. It snapped up, the neck completely snapped, and I put it on Facebook. I asked for help on Facebook, and the amount of support and encouragement I got of people. One lad is a busker in Blackpool. He got in touch with me and he said, come round our house, send me his address, fixed it for me.
Oh, look
at
that.
Glued it all, put some dowels in it and did it all. And it just, it's just little things like that. But I had to ask for help. And, showing a bit
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Nothing wrong.
It's helped me massively. I keep banging on about supported housing. Just, while you're in supported housing, just use it, or any support network. That's what they're there for. Do you know what I mean?
Neil, you've come through supported housing, haven't you? And now you've gone on to the next stage, and you're working now.
I'm still in supported housing. Yeah,
right.
I'm still in. Yeah.
What else have you been up to?
It's all, for me, it's all about building, like I have a similar story as yours, Peter, very similar. I remember what you said before. You said that you was alone, vulnerable and scared, and I could really relate to that. But me, all the stuff I got up to, similar to you, I ostracized myself from my family. But since I've been in recovery, the massive, the thing what gives me hope is that my family have accepted me. My family are starting to forgive me and starting to trust me again. So I spend the weekends, going visiting my family, and it's just beautiful. After 15 years of not speaking to my mum and dad, the only time they spoke to me is when they told me to piss off from the door, and rightly so, because of the shame I brought to the family. But now they want me there. The smile on my mum's face is priceless when I go down. It's a genuine, and I've never had that for a long time.
You've been doing a sponsored walk, haven't you, Neil?
Oh, it was a sponsored run. Yeah, I got a lot of help with it as well, But about what keeps me clean is getting off my arse and doing something. Do you know what I mean? Just get, playing the guitar, going training, doing a bit of running. But I thought I'd do something what's close to my heart, because there's a children's hospital in Blackpool, and I've got a sister me, and a children's hospital saved her life when she was a kid. So I decided to get off my arse, do a bit of training, and then work towards doing a 10k run. It was a hard work, really, to be honest, but it was well worth it. We raised 700 quid between us for them kids, for them poor kids, and it's for kids with serious illnesses. Yeah, but I've got
But hold on, just let me stop you right there, because on paper, you get presented as a bad person, someone who has to be locked up, and probably your behaviours in addiction warranted that. But
yeah,
when you get well, actually you're nothing like that. You're someone who wants to give back to charity. They're principles what will draw good stuff into your world. So are you working now today?
Yeah, I feel blessed to be offered. I got offered a position with Empowerment at a charity who work with addicts, amongst other things. But I'm working with like addicts and people who are homeless and stuff like that in Blackpool, and that's I get paid for it. I'd have done it voluntary, to be honest. It's just something I love doing, but it's something I've learned off other people. I didn't just come up with it myself. Yeah, I just love doing it. I've only been there 4 or 5 weeks, but I'm hoping that it's going to lead to full time, because already I know that I love doing it. It's just the feeling I get from making a difference in someone else's life.
And you've got FY for you as well. You're a part of that too.
Yeah. It's more, that's the group where we're more focused on newcomers who don't know what's available around Blackpool. So we're just signposting them to different organisations, identifying the needs, and say if someone's got a problem with alcohol, we'll tell them where the AA meetings are and other support networks in Blackpool. But actually be kind to people and show them a bit of love, and it goes a long way. I've realised that, because I'm showing my gratitude, really, because I got it when I first come round. I'm just paying it forward to someone else.
Oh, well, Magsy O'Neill says, what an absolute diamond, Neil. Lindsay Jackson, fabulous, Neil, top tune.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Is it Dirty Gecko time?
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, with Chris, let me just put this onto gallery. So Chris has been on the live LUF Lounge on the comments for weeks, and he's always, supporting us. He's encouraging us. His comments are always uplifting, but none of the guys had ever met him, and they just knew about the brand. Dirty Gecko as a brand, and I know him as a person. I know Chris when he was wild and raw, and I know him now, and I'm able to see the difference. So it just made sense. Let's talk about, because the reason why I wanted you to come on the show, Chris, because I've been doing this now for 10-12 years, and when you start to get hope for a better future, lots of people think I want to work in recovery, and it's not for everyone. What we need to do is help people to see beyond the recovery community. I've heard the cliche, the bridge to normal living, but to traverse that bridge to normal living, you've got to generate income. You've got to become a function, or you don't have to be, but to live that life beyond your wildest dreams, you've got to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And for that, it means to generate income, and stand on your own 2 feet. That's got to be the gold standard, but not not everybody's had the training or the skills. So I suppose I think you're a good example, Chris, as someone who's used transferable skills. And when I go into prisons to talk to the prisoners, I meet lots of drug dealers, you know, and they've got skills, but they've just not been able to transfer them skills in a positive pro-social setting. But you have, just what I know, you've got a couple of online shops and you're selling socks. And I just thought, wow, he's gone from selling rocks to selling socks, but it's a business. And I think we need more role models like that to be able to point to say, well, he did it. And I'm sure he'll share with you what the pathway's like. He'll teach you to do it, because Chris understands the spiritual principle that Neil was just talking about. When you start to focus on helping other people, it creates a flow into your world, you know. And I know one of the things you do, Chris, is you support charities, and I know, you know, you've helped Willie. Everyone knows Will, maybe everyone doesn't know, but we've got our own website, Red Rose Recovery website, and one of the things Willie's supported accommodation carer did was help Willie write a book, and we said to Willie, we'll help you get that book to market via our website. That's what a recovery infrastructure organisation is about. So one of the things we did was say to Willie, right, how much did that cost to produce the book? And we reimbursed Willie. So how much did we give you, Willie?
£150, Pete.
So for that £150, we got, yeah?
I just have to put myself on mute. My tablets are ready.
All right, mate. So I can say, right, for that £150, Willie wants that to go back to the Lancashire User Forum to generate money. So what we've got is 30 books. That's what it cost us, £150, and Willie's been reimbursed for that. And up to now, we've generated, so as of today, we've sold on our website, the books go for £9.99 and a £1.99 delivery fee, but it costs us £2.25 to pack and post it, and PayPal take a percentage of that fee. So we end up with like £9 per book, and up to now, we've sold 14 books. So we've got 30, we've sold 14. So we're nearly at the point where we've drawn back the money it's cost to get that product to market. And, you know, the next 10, 14, 15 books we sell will generate about £140, £150, which will then get spent on, you know, whatever we as a Lancashire User Forum committee decide is a good way to spend that money. Now, I know, Willie, you've helped Willie get that picture, that book, to one of your online shops, haven't you, Chris?
Well, you know, I'm trying, you know, but people that don't know Willie from my sites maybe not be inclined to purchase it. So I advertised it on my social media through Red Rose and also through my online sites to try and get them sold and get as much money and much books sold as possible. And the revenue that my site would make off Willie's book, I would not take any of it. I would just give it straight back to Willie. You know, especially the merchandise, you know, with Willie's face on it, because I mean, who doesn't love Willie? You know what I mean? I put him on everything: socks, cushions, cups, all kinds of, if you name it, Willie's face and the title of his book is on there. Yeah. And if people want to go and buy it, then whatever revenue that generates, you know, it all goes to Willie, you know. But you know, I can understand that people that may be a bit dubious, thinking, well, you know, who's this lad Chris called Dirty Gecko? Why is he selling? Why is he putting Willie's face on his own merchandise? You know, because which is only fair, because they don't know me, they don't know of me. They might think I'm taking advantage of a person. But you guys, you know me, and the people close to me, they know me. So they know my intentions are good, but I just need to sell more of his stuff so that I can give him more money to do with what he wants, to donate it to whatever charity he feels he wants to donate it to. And I've got a highest bid on Facebook for Willie's book. I bought a couple of them. I've got one here that I want a highest bid for. And I think it's a lady called Henny Sykes that is in the running at the moment. She's bid £30 on it.
Oh, hey, that's brilliant.
Yeah, she's and she's sharing it out herself. You know, the page. You know, but
I mean, to be honest, I like my face on, you know, on a cuddle pillow. I reckon loads of people would buy me on a t-shirt, socks. There's, you know, the list is endless. It's
if we put your face on, we'd have to really ramp the revenue up, wouldn't we?
Just so we know that, I mean, for us, we're not talking about a huge amount of money, but
no,
we're like, you know, it's not entirely about the money. I think it's about teaching people that there's a way out there to generate money, but it's also about getting people talking about these issues, as well as saying to Willie, people value you.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I can identify a lot with Willie because of all them years he spent in psych hospitals. I've been sectioned a few times many years ago for mental health breakdowns and stuff, and you know, my life was totally unmanageable, you know, and there's things that I was addicted to were not even drugs. I was addicted to power, control, violence, you know, all kinds of anything that made me feel good. You know, I could get addicted to it. And if I got a certain feeling of something, then I would smash it. You know what I mean? Until the feeling went away. And then, you know, I started off, I think my gateway drug was actually cigarettes, Benson and Hedges, off the caretaker at school when I was 7 years old. Because I knew they were wrong. You know what I mean? Tobacco's addictive. I knew it was wrong. And the reason why the caretaker gave me cigarettes is because I was asked to leave the classrooms by the teachers because they couldn't control me. So I was sent down to the basement with the caretaker, you know, just helping him potter about and that. And he'd give me cigarettes. And I truly believe from the work that I've done on myself, for all the step work that I've done, is that my gateway drug was them cigarettes because I knew they were wrong. I knew my parents. I knew I knew they would have gone mad. I used to hide them. I used to steal them. And that just progressed all through my life, you know. And transferable skills, you know, I don't like blowing smoke up my own ass because, you know, I just don't like that. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to muggle through this world, you know, as best I can through this swamp of recovery and keep my sobriety and keep all the good things that I've learned and found out about myself. You know, I've got to keep it simple. So, you know, I'm just doing the best I can with what I've got. And I'm a gamer. I like playing video games. I have been doing series stop. Sorry, with I've met a lot of friends. I've been up to London numerous times to meet my friends that are game with people that I've played with for 8-9 years, and a lot of them are recovery based. A lot of them are in recovery. They're working a 12-step program themselves, and you know, it's just. That's why I call my YouTube site Recovery Gaming. I'm just happy in my own little world. I've got to keep it simple for myself, because if I start overthinking stuff, you know, it's got to keep it easy. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying life. You know, for me and where I came from, and knowing where I came from, what I've done and what I've seen, I found peace many years ago, and I'm happy within myself. And the most joy that I can get is by helping others. And if I can help somebody or help others as much as I can, then I like that. I like to see people shine. I like to see them get help. I like to see them progress and get out of this shit of addiction, you know. And my whole, you know, 90% of my life in recovery, I'm nearly 11 years in sobriety, is, you know, helping others, taking care of myself, and taking care of my friends. I've got a small circle. You know, my relationship with my parents today are fantastic, beautiful people. You know, I mean, I can remember trying to steal the chains off my mum's neck years ago. You know, I mean, I've had some good times in addiction, or so I thought, when I was a young lad growing up, going through the ranks, trying to make a name for myself, and done all kinds of crimes and that. But I'm not going to go into the crimes that I've done. But what I will touch on is where the crime ended for me, and I was in and out of garages stealing cheese and bacon and selling them in the pubs, taking big bags into supermarkets and filling it full of Lynx deodorants and selling them for £1. Yeah, that's where it took me at the end of it. And I put myself in rehab. Never been in rehab before. I've done loads of detoxes, loads of different detoxes, psych hospitals, Meadowbrook, Prestwich, a lot, you name it. And then I put myself in rehab with the help of my drug counsellor at the time. She must have seen something in me, and I'm glad she did, because it was the very first rehab that I went in, and they were talking a language that I didn't understand: 12 steps, recovery, being grateful, and all this, and I didn't understand it. But and I didn't know that my behaviours was still out of control whilst in rehab, and I wanted to change. I wanted to be a good person. I'd already put changes into my life before, many years before rehab, by getting into all kinds of stuff, mountain climbing, all kinds of extreme sports, while still in addiction, injecting myself with crack cocaine and heroin on 7,000 foot mountains, you know, into my groin, inside a one-man tent in the middle of winter. Crazy. When I think back to it, you know, how many times I could have died up there and been left frozen and found, you know. But anyway, going back to, I went to that pier point just down the road from here, and there was two fellas there, John Robinson and Stevie G, which were the counsellors there at the time. Now, I didn't like either of them. I didn't like either of them because they were bigger than me. They knew more than me. They were cocky. They were confident, but they were there to help me. But I didn't see this at the time, so I didn't like them. Yeah, I thought I was on my best behaviour. I wanted it. I just didn't know how to get it. And these people that are trying to help me to get it, I still couldn't get it. I ended up getting kicked out after 49 days. And the lady that ran the place called me insidious. I didn't even know what that meant. I had to Google it when I got out. And but anyway, so when I was leaving, the first thought was, right, phone dealer. Is my phone charged? But the 49 days I was in there, I'd gone to Narcotics Anonymous meetings, met a load of people who were beautiful, lovely, spiritual people. And I wanted what they had. Yeah. So I thought, right, I can turn left and walk into the square, get myself a coffee, sit down, or go right, go to the taxi rank, shoot off to the train station, shoot back off to Manchester. And I chose to walk left. Went into the square in St. Anne's, got a coffee, and there was about 12 people there that had previously met at meetings, all in recovery, all gleaming, smiling, all happy, nice clothes on. They just enveloped me in with them and helped me to meetings. You know, people say do 90 days back-to-back meetings. I did 18 months of everyday back-to-back meetings because that's all I knew at the time. I was finding myself in recovery. I was becoming this different person. You know, my thoughts changed, and I loved it. You know, I needed a life. I needed a new life within this recovery community where I live, with these new people that don't want anything from me. They're not going to steal from me. They're not going to try and get one over on me. You know, I should say most of them anyway. And this is where I've been ever since. You know, I went to college, did maths and English. You know, I've done peer mentoring. I worked at, I did for 18 months. I went into rehabs and shared the message of Narcotics Anonymous. I wanted to get into prison service, but it didn't work out. And then, but because I like gaming, you know, I've put my hand back into gaming, and you know, it's been fun, you know, speaking with these people in the parties that are working a 12-step program, you know, and living all over the world, all people from America and Germany and France and Scotland and all over the show. You know what I mean? It's something that I enjoy. You know, it's not for everybody. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's for me. I like it. You know, I get a lot of connection. I get a lot of help. I get a lot of pleasure from it. You know, and if I can put a tiny bit of that back into helping somebody else, then all the better for it. You know, I've never helped anybody in my life ever. You know, I've never helped anybody. You know, I've been full of hate all my life, hate, anger, problems, issues. For the longest time, it's not been like that. You know, I'm a peaceful guy. I'm a happy lad. You know, I don't want for much, you know. And the people that I've got around me are beautiful, you know, like yourselves. You know what I mean? I've not seen you for years, Peter. I've not met you for years, Peter. Emily, Neil, Elliot, Willie. You know what I mean? What's not to like? You know what I mean? Amazing. I love it. Have I been going on a bit too long?
No. So have you managed to sell any of Willie's merchandise yet? Have we had any, you know, is there any?
Not particularly. I think somebody's ordered some socks maybe, but I need to get the, you know, people need to go and buy it.
Yeah, well, you know, we can plug this, guys. If anybody wants any Willie memorabilia, you know.
Peter's got a few quid. He should buy some.
Well, Peter's put his expertise into, like I say, up to the 22nd, we've sold 14 of Willie's books, and we're nearly at the point where we've clawed the money back that's invested it. Then we'll, next month when I come on, I'll be able to say, right, this is how much money we are pushing back into Willie.
I mean, there's a few people. Sarah Elizabeth Davis has put, I'd love some Willie merchandise with his amazing quotes on. Willie's words of wisdom would inspire people nationwide. Willie, do you know what I mean? Cushions with your quotes on.
Yeah. Get Willie to send me some of his. Willie, send us some of your quotes, pal, and I'll make some new stuff as well.
We've got can I just say that Senga Smith has said thank you to us all for looking after Willie. That's Willie's mum. Senga, we love Willie, and you know, we can, and she sounds amazing. I can't wait to meet her.
What we've got to do, I mean, because Chris wants to help out, and it's like there's other people out there who want to jump in this space and give back, and what we've got to do is make it easy for people to do that and say, right, when we put our heads together, there isn't anything we can't do. You know, I know, Chris, when we used to put our heads together about earning a few quid, we'd earn it one way or another. Now, I think, you know, the same principle applies, but in a honest and true and pro-social way. I think there's lots of other people out there who get in this space with us. So
definitely. Magsy O'Neill's just put, I've known Chris most of my life, most trustworthy guy I've ever met, beautiful person.
Emily.
Hello.
Emily,
Yeah.
can you get Chris's address after this, and I'll send him some quotes, some good ones.
Chris, can we sort that? Can you message Willie
Yeah.
on Messenger or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. I've got the volume up because everyone's playing games here.
Oh, no, tell him not to be so bloody rude, and they should be watching you live.
no, they're all with the Dirty Gecko crew on the gaming sites, aren't they?
Oh, bless you.
How about we have some of our own Elliot, because Elliot's brand new into this space and he's been really patient hanging out with us.
And he's been very popular. There's a lot of people want to hear some more songs by Elliot. Obviously, he's a newbie, so we like to promote our newbies and get them out there.
Yeah, I'll definitely play a song, yeah, of course.
I plug my laptop in.
I'm going to play one, but to be honest with you, there's no title to it. There's no nothing like that. There should be by now, because I've known it for a really long time. But it's just been one thing I find funny around music, and like as it kind of moves on and different things. I write one song for one thing ages ago, a while ago. Then I write another paragraph for a different song, and then a third paragraph for a completely different song, and it all links together a little bit. But then I thought, you know what, let's stick them all together, and then it just kind of you get a song at the end of it.
Absolutely love it. We've got lots of people. Sarah Elizabeth Davis, I want to hear more from Elliot, please.
Cool. So the no named song. So
that's fine.
Under the running river, where speaking just cannot be, I find myself falling oh far beneath, as the river drains on my dear. New challenges do I now face. How long can I hold my breath for? How many more mistakes? I need your help, my friend, but I'm not wrong, I'd say. I need your help, my friend, but I'm not wrong. Our words such a deeply inciting, inviting, loving, hated, words through vocabulary. Our words are powerful weapons to enticing, fathom a breath of opinion and enlightenment. Can't words describe sorrow and joy. As rivers run free, so the words with a ploy, intentions forever endow our useful choice. Human nature is truly free, full of choice. Nurturing mother, the lover of another, a dictator of hatred for colours. A wise man once said almost nothing. The drug lord destructive in his coffin. No words hide beneath the surface were thrown out. No words scream out, they can shield something wrong. Can you hear my scream for help? My yelp was disguised in the smile that you felt. I need your help, my friend, but I'm not wrong, I'd say. I need your help, my friend, but I'm not wrong. The tricksters and the helpers give out one row each. My blind eye grabs the easiest. A snake it turned out to be. As the snake bites into my skin, a smile appeared on my face. But as soon as the poison's gone, my blood boils and start to play. I need your help, my friend, but I'm not wrong, I'd say. I need your help, my friend, but I'm not.
Well, hey! Oh, wow. Thank you. Glenn Costello has just put, yes, Elliot, smash it, bro. You're amazing.
Yes, Glenn.
Oh, bless you. David Simpson, I need your help, my friend. Yes, mate. Wow. Oh, just in time, Peter. Just in time. Thank you so much for that.
No problem. Thank you for the nice comments, people.
Thanks, Elliot.
I've took myself off the screen. I don't know how to get myself back on it.
Well, we can see you.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Okay. I've just put the pasta on in the kitchen. So we can have some tea tonight. But I was listening to you. It's brilliant, that. So thanks, Elliot.
Can we just quickly just say hello to the newcomer, Neil's the puppy, the biggest fan, obviously. Look, can we just, viewers, can you just see this puppy? Look, look.
Her name's Mavis and she's 8 weeks old.
Mavis, 8 weeks
Mavis.
old.
We called her Mavis because she shakes that much. She reminded us of Mavis off Coronation Street. She's not shaking now, is she?
Oh wow! Sorry, I had to have another look at Mavis. I just needed a Mavis fix. Right, sorry, Peter. Go on. I just needed to see Mavis.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because we've been here nearly a couple of hours. How about if we get some of Willie's wisdom, and then we tie it up for the night before we play Puzzle Productions?
Yeah, can I just say though, on the 5th of June, there's going to be a very special live LUF. It's going to be, we're going to be joined together, the East home building. So I just need to promote that 5th of June, you can't miss that, guys. Yeah. Me and Willie will get to meet. We'll finally be able to get to meet. So looking forward to it, aren't we, Willie?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, love.
I just want to say, on that 5th of June, we're going to stream it, but we're going to be in the space. So some of the things we're going to do is like lateral flow tests before we go in there, because we don't want to, get complacent. But it did focus my thinking, and I've been trying to stay abreast of the current situation with regards to COVID. And it just got me asking the question, how many people in the recovery community are vaccinated? So can I just get a measure of the 6 of us on tonight? I mean, I've had my vaccination.
I've had both of mine.
Yeah, no.
So have you, Willie?
I've had 2, yeah.
So 4 of us have had 2. Well, 50%, is it? No, 60%.
I've had one. I'm waiting for my second one.
Are you getting it, Chris?
Yeah.
Not sure. I'm still in 2 minds.
Yeah, I was like that for a while. Now I'm glad I've had it done away, because my daughter had COVID and she was quite poorly with it. So it's sort of, I think when you get a family member with it and they're quite ill, then you start thinking, oh, well.
What about you, Elliot?
I'm 23, so I've not been offered it.
Oh, he's a baby. Oh, stop it. It's us pensioners, isn't it? Obviously.
I just think if we're going to go for like that herd immunization, the more of people in the recovery community who can get the vaccination, it makes sense, doesn't it? So in my mind, it does. Okay. Any other? Can I just say thanks, guys, for jumping in this space with me? I'd completely got a bit panicky the other day when it was like it's my turn to stream a show, and as always, what I learned again, what I thought I knew and had to learn again, is there's so many good people out there who are willing to lend a hand. You've just got to ask, and you've just got to put your hand up and say, will you give us a lift here? And then, my experiences were surrounded by some good people, man. So thank you. Thanks, guys. Any final words of wisdom for us, Willie?
Yes. When everything seems like an uphill struggle, just think of the view from the top. Difficult roads lead to beautiful designations. The only person you are destined to become is a person you decide to be.
Well, so you're deep, aren't you?
Indeed. Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Willie.
And you're beautiful as well, Willie.
I am.
Yeah.
If you want to cuddle up with Willie,
Yeah, there's a pillow. You can get a pillow.
How do you feel about that, Willie? People can cuddle up to you with a pillow.
Oh, I feel great. I feel great.
Oh.
So some of the mental health practitioners are arranging for me and Willie to do some talks, because we've gone through the speaker boot camp and we've done a few, haven't we, Willie?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
I think at the end of the talks in future, one of the things you'll be able to say, Willie, is if you want to take a piece of me home, you can go over to the Dirty Gecko website and get yourself a pillow.
We don't want, and we don't let Pete try and get in on there and like do one of you both together, you know, so that other people can have a Pete and Willie cuddle pillow. Don't let him steal that limelight, Willie.
there's nothing in the pipeline to Peter getting his face on a cushion yet. Anyway, it's all about Willie at the minute.
It's all about Willie. It is. It is.
Right. Thanks, guys.
Tonight.
Oh, look, your mum wants a pillow. Senga wants a pillow. Senga, look at that. Your mum wants one.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her.
My mum will want one for a special chair.
They was, well, right. There you go. Dirty Gecko. His mum wants a pillow. Cushion, cuddle.
The link to a few of his items over the weekend.
Yeah.
All right, pal.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers, Chris.
Chris, will you come back on and tell us how it works? So,
most definitely, yeah. Most definitely.
Nice one, mate.
Thanks, Chris, for taking your time with us, mate.
It's my pleasure, Willie. My pleasure.
Thank you, pal.
All right, man.
Okay, guys, thanks for jumping in this space with us tonight. I think we've accomplished our goal. We've got a little bit of hope out there. So I'm going to share now the puzzle productions, and I will see you in a few weeks. I'll see you when I see you.
Okay, see you, Pete.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys. Yeah, Emily.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Enjoy puzzle productions.
Marie, yeah, it's Daz. How we doing? Yeah, I'm just.
Daz gets in contact with Marie.
Hiya, Marie. Marie, yeah, it's Daz. How we doing?
It's not working, that is it?
No.
Right.
Try again.
Let me try again. Is that showing? Is that showing us puzzled?
Yeah.
Daz gets in contact with Marie.
Hiya, Marie. Marie, yeah, it's Daz. How we doing? Yeah, I'm just sat at a friend's house, if I'm honest. Yeah, I'm just a bit upset, you know. I ain't got a flipping clue what's going on, love.
she's going to accept help. It's a bit of a relief, but I'm really scared about doing it with her because I just don't know how to broach it with her anymore. I don't know how to talk to her. I know, but everybody knows, and this is the problem. What are they going to think of me? Do you know what I mean? How am I going to walk through the streets without everyone sneering at me and saying, that's him, that's that man, that's him. It's that guy that gets beat up by his women, the spineless bugger. I know I've got to think about the kids, I know. Thought about just scooping them up and doing one, if I'm honest. Going down to my brother's in Plymouth or something for a few weeks. Let her sort herself out. I know she doesn't need to be on her own. I don't want to do that, if I'm honest with you. What I'm going through is horrific right now. I'm so scared. Scared for our future, for family. I want to be a family again. There's nothing more that I want to be. I know I've not been the easiest person for her to get along with, and I know I'm demanding at times and stuff, and I need to look at myself in this as well. You know, I've got to think about what I expect from a relationship and things. It's just difficult. It's difficult, Mary. I really appreciate you speaking to her, and thanks for looking after the kids. You're an absolute rock, you know. And of course, I want to be a family again. I don't want to run away. I don't want to take the kids away. I don't want to leave her. I want to work through it. I'm just scared. Scared that we're not going to be able to. My marriage is going to be over. I can't go through this. I don't think I've got it in me to go through it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll give Sally a call and tell her that I'm willing to do it with her. Yeah, I love you too, Mary. Have a nice day. Thank you for looking after kids again. Bye.
Hi, Daz. How's it going, mate? I'm just ringing you to, you know, give you some support and ask how you're doing with your family and that, you know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, could you get in role here for you at work, you know what I mean? To give you some guidance, and if you need any help or anything, you know. Perhaps you could seek some professional help or anything like that, you know, with what's going on. Okay. Okay, well, you know, you get everything sorted out in your own time, you know, and just let me know. Okay, mate, you take care. Bye for now.
Oh no, what's boss want now? Hi boss, you alright? Yeah, I know. Thanks mate, I appreciate letting me have a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's not been going great mate, if I'm honest with you, no. Do you know what boss, I really appreciate that. Thank you. I know you're all there for me, it's just... In time I'll come and talk to you about it mate, it's just really difficult. Yeah, well, I'm going to try and get us some help mate. Cheers boss, thanks very much pal. No, I really appreciate it. You've really come through for me, mate. I appreciate it.
Daz gets some support from a different organisation.
Hello, is that Daz W? Hello, my name is John B, and I've been passed your number of Miss Sheila White. and she told me a bit of your situation, and I just wanted you to know that I've been through everything you've gone through.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's Daz, mate. Thanks for your call. Sorry, where did you say you were calling from again?
Shirley B had passed me your number and said that you could do with somebody that really understands what you're going through, and it's just a bit of support on the phone, really.
Yeah, mate, you know, I really appreciate your phone call, if I'm honest. Yeah, let's just give you a little bit of bring you up to speed, mate. So, obviously, I've been married to my wife now for a few years, Sally. You know, we've got a couple of kids and that, and, you know, she used to have a bit of a drink and things like that, and some medication, and I wasn't entirely sure what for, to be honest with you, mate, but...
just recently she's been getting really up in my face, do you know what I mean? Crossing massive boundaries, mate. And it come to a head the other week where she actually gave me a good crack, like, do you know what I mean? And I just don't know what to do with it, mate. I don't know what to do.
It's a bad situation. It is a really difficult situation for the men. You know, you have to appreciate firstly, this isn't right on any level. You know, and I really do feel for you. Are you interested in hearing a bit of my story?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. You know, I'd love to hear what happened for yourself. That'd be great, John.
Daz, I suffered with it for 15, going on 18 years, you know, in a 20-year relationship.
Wow. That long?
Yeah, that long. And the difficulty, the first and the last difficulty all around this was, it was my wife, like you know, it's my wife, the mother to my children, you know, and that shuts down a lot of areas where us as men feel that we want to go with this, and it causes a lot of difficulties and problems. I totally understand.
The pain, mate, that I'm in right now, because I'm so worried about, like, involving people, do you know what I mean? I don't want my kids to be taken away. I don't want her to be, you know, taken away or upset, or, do you know what I mean? I just want to get through it, but I just don't know where to go. I don't know where to turn.
There is places you can turn, there isn't, and we have to access this. But the first thing is, right, is, you know, and I totally get this, and that the last thing I ever wanted was involving, like, the police. You know, who wants the wife locked up? Who wants the mother to the kids locked up?
Nobody.
You know, it's the mother to our children, it's your wife and stuff. Who wants social services in their life and stuff like that? Nobody does, you know, and that. But you have to prioritise these situations and understand that your well-being and your mental health and, you know, your spirituality, everything about you is at a breaking point here, and that's what you're struggling.
I'm shocked, mate, at the minute. Honestly, I'm at wit's end, mate. You know what I mean? I feel like just doing one with kids and just, like, letting go, you know, but I know it's not the right thing to do. You know, so where do I go from here? What do I do from here, John? What do we do? Do you know what I mean? This is what I need. I need guidance. I need support. What do I do?
There is areas now which you can go. There is a bit of support out there, and that I can signpost you to places where with support and where you'd be able to speak to men that have gone through what we've gone through.
Why do a lot of men go through this today?
Yeah, a lot of men seem to be coming out of the shell now, and over the years it's been a cold area for us men. And that a very cold area, and we sat with it for a lot of the years. And some men, I know my end of my journey, I got to the point where I was stood on the end of Blackpool Pier and I wanted to commit suicide, you know, because I felt there was nowhere I wanted to go with it, or anywhere I could really go with it to get the help I needed with it. It's not a fact that I couldn't go places with it, I suppose. It was a case of, did I want to go to certain places with it? Because that area of help wasn't going to cause the situation to go away or make it better. I actually thought it could make it worse. Yeah. And that put a lot more on me. But yeah, today there is a lot more places, right, yeah, which I can happily signpost to you, and I'd be happily to go with you on the first. I'd be happily to go with you.
You know what, mate? I really appreciate that, John. You know, I've got a friend there as well who's willing to come with me. Is it all right if she attends with us as well? Because she's been through this, and you know, she's sort of put me in touch with other people. And I just want to say, firstly, thanks so much for getting in contact, because you know it is a lonely place to be. This, and do you know what? I didn't realise there was as many men going through this as what you're telling me. You know, so I appreciate everything that you're doing. Or gonna do for me, and yeah, you know what, signpost the way, mate, because the more help that we can get, the better for me. I spoke to her mum and she wants to get some help, so I think, you know, we're halfway there already, aren't we, by her saying she wants to get some.
Hi, Daz. Yeah, look, I'm sorry about everything. I've spoken to my mum and dad, and I know I need to get some help. It's like drinking has just got out of control and not taking my medication. And I want me and you to be okay. We need. I mean, I've been told about like agencies and people I can talk to. So I mean, I'm just wondering if you'll help me. Can't do this on my own. I can't do this on my own. I am sorry. I love you.
Well, guys, another awesome puzzle productions. Sorry for the grey blob that appeared halfway through the show. That was me commenting to Emily and what a fantastic job she's done and thanking her for her support. And then I realised, it's interfering with the show. So that's what it was. All right, guys. Emily, you're amazing.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Been a good one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Thank you. See you later, guys.
See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.